Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wall Street from Main Street podcast. I am Mo Dawoud. Today's special guest is Bill Murphy, the chairman of GATA. Bill, thank you for joining us again.
Good to be here, Mo. Thanks for asking me.
Well, we just started a new year, 2013, and I wanted to get a outlook from you on what's going to happen in the gold and silver market. A lot of investors were disappointed with what happened in 2012. They thought maybe we'd see all-time high in both metals, but that never happened. We just had another consolidation year. What do you think is going to happen in 2013? Do you believe there will be a significant event in 2013 regarding the manipulation that would trigger a move to the upside?
Well, Mo, I'm usually bullish, and quite frankly, I know people were disappointed, but the disappointment had to be in the share market because, gold was up about $100 by the end of the year and up for the 12th year in a row. I don't think any asset class has ever done that. Silver rose 8.4%. And yes, it was disappointing, probably to the bullion people because, like myself, the fundamentals are so screamingly bullish, and every time gold would pick its head up, the gold cartel would attack, and we can get into that. But the effect has been the sentiment right now is about as bad as it's ever been, and yet I think we're on our way to something spectacular and probably explosive.
Now, you said that's something spectacular. Do you think that's something regarding the manipulation, or just?
Well, I think that can happen too. Again, we can discuss that, but I think silver is going to take off towards $100 an ounce and certainly make all-time highs this year. And silver is going to, gold's going to take out 2,000 and go from there.
Oh, okay. So you're thinking that silver could hit $100 this year or in the next 2 years?
Well, it's hard to say. You predict it, it's never right. But, I mean, I think if for sure it will take out 50, and if it doesn't get to 100, I don't know, 65, 70, but it's going to be on its way there, and it'll be at $100 sooner than people think, I'll say that.
Okay. So, in relation to the manipulation, people may or may not know that the judge had dropped the lawsuit against J.P. Morgan, citing insignificant claims against J.P. Morgan for their silver manipulation. Were you surprised that they dropped it?
No, City Hall all over again. We had our guy Reg House sue everybody in the world, and the judge didn't say one thing wrong about Reg House lawsuit in 2001, except that he didn't have the proper legal standing. When it comes to this case, I can tell you that there is an appeal time and that they didn't quite do the suit right, and it's being worked on behind the scenes for an appeal. So I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't get going again, quite frankly.
Now, do you think that there will be a different group of lawyers that will bring a new lawsuit against J.P. Morgan, or do you believe that there'll be the same?
No, this will be an appeal of the old one because certain things are being done to correct what should have been presented as far as I know it. But I do think that there's going to be a big scandal regarding J.P. Morgan and the silver market that will surface. The CFTC refuses to do anything with information presented to them by various whistleblowers. It's a disgrace. But I think if I'm correct, it's going to surface in some manner, which I can't get into, and it's going to create a big furor, and it's about time. I mean, they're just getting away with this. Wall Street just runs over everybody when it comes to these markets, and nothing is done about it. There's no rule of law.
Yeah, that's unfortunate in this country. Some people are above the law, and others are not.
Yeah, if you're a big guy, you're above the law. You're a little guy, they'll stomp all over you for anything.
That's unfortunate. I think Joe Salente said it best, that justice is for just us and not for them. They're above the law.
Well, he said it well.
Well, I've noticed that regarding a lot of gold and silver companies are starting to come out and speak against the manipulation in the precious metals market. Have you ever thought about going to them and trying to get them to get together and file a lawsuit against these cartels, since the manipulation is affecting their profit and their business?
Well, sure it is, and that's what the World Gold Council is supposed to do, but they're totally inept. We've gone to a lot of these companies. way back when we started, Anglo Gold gave us $20,000. Goldfield gave us $20,000. A lot of companies have given us a lot of money and have been consistent supporters. We've got some really good ones. I mean, Seabridge Gold and Kirkland Lake and a bunch of people. I don't want to leave anybody out. But, you know, we're fighting City Hall, and they're afraid. First of all, they're mainstream people. Many of them are geologists and engineers, and, you know, not exactly the sharpest marketing people in the world. And that's, of course, what they should be doing, because it's the biggest problem to the industry. But they don't have to do it directly if they're afraid of permitting issues or getting who lends them the money? The bullion banks, for God's sakes, the ones killing them. But the World Gold Council should be doing this for them, and then they don't have to be directly involved. They can say, oh, it's not us, it's the World Gold Council. But it's the World Gold Council facilitates the whole thing. It's ridiculous.
Now, you've been, I don't know if you've been talking to some of the people in the gold and silver industry regarding manipulation. Do you see a lot of people in the industry trying to believe in the manipulation compared to like 10 years ago?
Well, not really, but they don't say anything for us, but they don't speak against us so much anymore. I mean, what's happened the past, you know, month, 2 months, ridiculous with these waterfall attacks. It's beyond comprehension, and we have it all documented. The fundamentals are getting more bullish and more bullish with QE3 and 4. The dollar's falling apart. The euro's at 7.5-year highs, and gold, the euro's going, you know, taking off, and gold's tanking. Gold's gone from 1794 to 1660, while the euro's gone from 130 to 134. Well, what happened to those people who said the key to the gold market was the dollar, and so on? I mean, it's so obvious what they're doing. I mean, today is particularly egregious. No follow-through is ever allowed on the upside when you get a breakout move, ever these days. And we document it, and we say, here's what's going to happen the next day, and it always happens.
Yes, and especially what happened in the gold and silver market after QE4 was announced. Everybody expected a big move, and instead we had silver go below 30 and gold go below 1,700, which surprised a lot of people. So I want to talk about...
Well, it's just this one simple answer. That's what God has been talking about since we became into existence in 1999. Of course, it's ridiculous how obvious it is. Why can't people just understand this? They really got to be nutcases.
People are too busy watching CNBC and reading Wall Street Journal. They don't look behind between the lines or dig it for more information on why things like this happen.
That's true. That's true. Unfortunately, it's sad. The average person I can understand because they got kids to take care of. They got their own jobs. They don't have time to get into all this stuff. But the people in the gold world and the people who watch the market in the silver world, they should be ashamed of themselves.
Oh, I agree. I think people who are invest in gold and silver or part of that industry should be more active and pay attention to what's going on in the paper market because it affects their business, it affects their investment, and yet very few of them ever speak out because they're afraid to tarnish their reputation because. To most people, the manipulation is a conspiracy theory.
Well, most things are. The conspiracy theory is probably the most applicable thing to the way things are done nowadays you can imagine. That's what they do. They use that word to marginalize people like us. But first of all, we're not conspiracy theorists. We got all this stuff is public information. It's based on facts. It's not based on conspiracy. But since you bring that up, yeah, most things are conspiracy, like the LIBOR scandal. That was a conspiracy among the same people. And in another sort of vein, the Lance Armstrong mess. The cyclist. He conspired with doctors and various teammates to lie to the public. That was a conspiracy. They're just commonplace.
And the housing bubble was a big conspiracy theory back in mid-2000 when everybody was all into the real estate. No one believed people that were following free market Austrian economic that the housing bubble was going to burst. They think that was a conspiracy theory as well.
Well, that's a good point. Of course, it happened. And when the gold scandal will be known and silver scandal will break, when the prices go berserk, which they're going to do, and it'll be like every other scandal, whether it's Enron or Madoff. It never gets acceptance until they blow up.
Yeah, but yeah, until there's a crisis, then people start paying attention. Unfortunately,
that's
how people are. That's how they think in nature. They're reactive instead of proactive.
That's right.
Especially in D.C. Now, I want to talk about the COT report just for a little bit. The COT report does show the big short position for gold and silver. Do you think the bank will start winding down their short position after the debt ceiling, fiscal cliff fiasco is over? It seems like the bank are trying to keep silver and gold from blowing past $35 for silver and $17.80 for gold, which is major resistance.
Well, yeah, they've done that. That's what these raids have been about. That's why we're done it. That's why gold collapses for no reason all the time, and silver goes with it. But just as recently, just in the report today, the shorts covered about 4,500 contracts in silver, which is a pretty big covering of the positions. And I believe the raid in gold partly was due to help Morgan get out of their short position as best they can down here, or as many contracts, because the physical market's very tight. There are shortages in the U.S. market in securing silver bags, and in the scrap area, silver's leaving London and going to Asia. And it's explosive, and we're getting closer and closer to when this takes off. So I believe, again, that this raid in gold of the past many weeks and months was partly to help Morgan try and cover.
So you believe this whole fiscal cliff and debt ceiling fiasco in D.C. is a time for the bank to start covering up on their shorts, because they know that the debt ceiling is going to be raised, no matter what the Republicans say. And they know that spending cut is not going to happen anytime soon, which is, both good for gold and silver. And I think they know that. So you think that they're using this time to cover their short position right now?
They forced it down. Yeah, well, that's a good point. I mean, in essence, gold's the barometer of U.S. financial market health, and they've wanted to diffuse it so that it's off the radar screen when this happens. So when it takes off again, it goes from 1660 to maybe 1860, 2000 or whatever. Not much more than it was in April in 2011. And so, it'll be, they make sure that they manage the price rise if they can, and keep excitement to a minimum. And say, well, look, we'll go, it's just back to where it was. And they're just trying to get it off the radar screen, because, yes, what you described is coming. It's pathetic what our politicians are doing, and yet, deficit's going to get worse, the debt worse, and it's going to go on and on and on.
I want to talk about China for a little bit. China has been big buyers in both gold and silver in the past couple of years. They're trading their treasury holding and buying natural resources. Now, there's some rumors out there that China is shorting the gold and silver market to get the bullion cheaper. Have you heard anything about that from your contact or your insiders?
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it, but I don't put much stock in it. It may be correct. Certainly, but as far as I know, I've heard the same about Morgan's actually trying to get along. Well, you can't. China's buying like crazy. Yeah, they want to get the price down to keep accumulating on all the dips. That's how they buy, and they think big picture. So I find it hard to believe, and probably just another rumor floated, what the gold cartel is telling people. The Chinese, you can't be selling to buy. I mean, I just don't see it. They've got too big an agenda to be buying in the dips, and they've got the gold cartel to do the dirty work anyway. So when they get times like this, they're out there buying.
Yeah, and a lot of central banks are buying on a dip. They use the dip to buy.
That's what's happening. I mean, reports are coming in every month or so of a different central bank buying. We don't know where the gold's coming from, but they're managing to get the price down. And we know demand's good down here, so we shouldn't be down here too much longer.
Now, I want to talk about the gold and silver stocks, if you don't mind. Do you believe that the gold and silver stocks will have a mania phase similar to what could happen in a gold and silver physical market?
Well, the shares will be much more of a mania than physical market, because they've been so depressed. I mean, I've been so right in gold and silver over the years, in the last 4 or 5 years. it's my shares have stunk up the place, and I certainly haven't got it right at all. But I think for as much pains we've gone through, yes, there's going to be a mania. It'll be like the internet mania, and shares are going to go up 10 and 20 times. First of all, you're going to have the many hedge funds that are short right now, and I know this for a fact. It's been a theme trade, long the market, short the precious metal shares. They're going to cover first, which is going to cause a swift rise in many of the shares. That's going to be stunning, and they'll get some consolidation. And then the public's going to start coming into this tiny market sector, and the share prices are going to go nuts.
And people have phases for the current bull market in gold and silver. Right now, people say we're in phase 2, where a lot of people are starting to pay attention to this market. They're starting to own it, but it's not in a mania stage. It's not in a bubble stage, which happens in phase 3, where everybody comes in and they start buying, and the price shoots up to the roof.
Well, if anything, it's a bubble negative, or whatever words you want to use. I mean, how many people do you know that own gold and silver? If you find 1 in 100, it's a lot. That's not even close to anything. I mean, we're not even on a rinky-dink stage yet when it comes to the general public.
Yeah, I've read statistic that less than 0.1% of all portfolio actually have any gold holding.
Yeah, it's a non-event. That's all to come. It's all to come. So people out there that are discouraged or don't like the action, which is just what the gold cartel wants, that's why they do it.
And just imagine,
and just have to hang in there and understand what's coming down the road.
Yeah, that's the tough part when investing in gold and silver. You have to stomach the volatility and the big drop.
The volatility on the downside, not the upside. They capped the gains. I mean, like yesterday, they capped it at 1% and attacked today. But there's no volatility limit on the downside, but just on the upside.
Yep, and I agree. And just imagine if all the portfolios in the world had moved from 1.1% to 5% of all portfolios that had gold. Just imagine what happened to the gold and silver price.
It's good, and that's what's coming. It's coming. It'll come in stages, like you're saying, but it's coming. So we've got a long way to go, and the shares, some of them are back to where they were 10 years ago.
That is true, and in investing in the gold and silver market is tough. It's hard to find the winners and losers in that market.
Well, it's certainly been tough the past 4 years, for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of gold and silver companies out there. Do you believe that gold and silver will eventually be in a bubble stage?
Sure, like any other asset, yep. Some point it will be, but they've got to let sticker shock set in first and stop this managed retreat stuff. We're not even close to that. It's years away, but it's coming.
Oh, no, I agree. Now, let's talk about GATA for a little bit. GATA has gained a lot of popularity, it seems like, in the past couple of years, and it's a lot due to, the current gold and silver bull market that's currently going on. Is that true?
Well, I would say it's because people are hearing about it, and they're noticing how gold trades, and like we started off this interview, they're disappointed in the way it's acted. I mean, the fundamentals couldn't be more bullish, and it's going down. They're looking for explanations what's going on, and GATA has the answer. And we understand this market and what they're doing and how it trades and how it works, and we document it every day. And there's a lot of other things that have surfaced report-wise from the IMF and the BIS about things that are on the record about them rigging the markets and what they plan to do and how they do it. I mean, stuff's gradually surfacing that people can't ignore anymore. So now the people that used to ridicule us just go silent, and a lot of other people are just, are willing to admit that we've been right all along, but they're tough to find publicly.
Oh, yeah, it is tough to find.
Well, I had to laugh the other day. Rick Santelli of CNBC just casually mentioned GATA and like everybody knew exactly what we do and what we were talking about, and so that was kind of fun.
Oh, really? I did not see that, but that's good.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the few analysts I respect in CNBC.
Well, he's not afraid to speak his mind, that's for sure.
You're right. Well, thank you, Bill Murphy, for coming on for Wall Street for Main Street podcast. If people want to find out more about GATA, where can they go?
Well, it's two ways. Well, And thanks for having me. Go to GATA.org and get on our list. My colleague Chris Powell puts out, it's a freebie. Then if they're interested in what I have to say and do, got a website, La Metropole Cafe, LEMETROPOLECIFE.com, and they can sign up for a 2-week free trial and see if it's a benefit to them.
I think that's great, and we think GATA is a big part of what's going on in the gold and silver market, and we appreciate what you guys do.
You're going to hear about us a lot in the years to come, Mo, and I thank you for thinking of us, and spread the word if you can.
We will. All right, thank you, Bill, and hopefully you can come back another time.
Will do. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. Bye.